Hi, I'm Pooja Kumar, and you're watching Open Chest with Raj Giran.
Welcome to another episode of Open Chest with Raj Giran Live. Today's show is called Navigating the International World of Cinema as a Woman. And I couldn't think of a more, wise and knowledgeable and experienced actress than my girl Pooja Kumar, who is on screen with us right now. Now, she is an award-winning American actress, and I want to kind of give you a little bit of information about who she is for those of you who may not be fully familiar with her. She was Miss India USA, and that's kind of where she got her start a number of years ago. Since then, she has done over 35 movies across Hollywood, Bollywood, Collywood, and Tollywood. She has also done 15 off-Broadway plays, 25 TV shows, numerous TV commercials, and has also hosted some of the biggest events across the world as well. She is also a producer of 3 award-winning short films. And being an American who is very popular in South Asia has given her the ability to bridge gaps between America and South Asian perspectives throughout her career, actually. Also, her connection with her fan base has given her insights on what resonates with Americans as well as with South Asian audiences. She deeply cares about the role diversity and inclusion needs to play both on and off screen, and we will be talking about this today. Welcome, my dear darling Pooja Kumar.
Thank you, Raj, for that lovely, lovely introduction. It's so good to see you. Namaskar.
Oh my God, it's such a pleasure to see your gorgeous sunshine smile. I miss you like crazy, girlfriend.
I miss you too. God, it's been forever. Forever.
It really has. But you and me, like, it's hilarious because, so many things happen in our worlds, but, we get talking.
Yeah. I don't know, somehow there's a little delay in the Instagram, so I don't know why it's going a little delay. But anyway, we'll figure it out. Yes.
Okay. So, but you can hear me, right, darling?
I can. Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Brilliant. So you know what we're going to do? I'm going to ask you to share with everybody how you and I met. Like, you and I met, 15, 18 years ago? I can't even remember how long ago it was.
Yeah.
Right new when you had become Miss USA. So let's share that a little bit with our people out there.
No, I want you to talk about it, and then I'm going to chime in. I want you, because I love the way you describe it.
Oh my God. Okay. So it was really interesting because rarely would you see, women from our culture be promoted kind of in the, realms of beauty and, brains and bringing all that together in the North American market. It was very rarely, seen. And Pooja was one of the first that, was really put on that kind of platform. And really the interesting thing was, and that kind of piqued my interest about, who is this woman? And the thing is about Pooja is that not only is she stunningly beautiful and has like the most crazy ass, funniest personality, but she's also a very deeply emotional and intelligent woman. Like, everything she does always has, a rhyme, a reason, and a purpose. And she's all about whatever she does, she wants to bring people along with her. And that's the thing that I find with Pooja. Pooja, like, your start was so incredible. And, tell people a little bit about why you decided that you wanted to enter, a pageant like this. What was it that, attracted you to kind of go into the public realm like that? Because you came from a very traditional background.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm a girl from a small town, St. Louis, Missouri. I was born and brought up. My dad immigrated in 1970, and I have always had the arts in me, and that's because of my mother. She introduced Indian cinema. She introduced the Indian arts. She introduced our culture. In such a fun and interesting way. And it wasn't like forced upon like my brother and myself. It was more of like, you should celebrate that you've got 2 great cultures. You've got the Indian culture and you've got the American culture. And so now you have to sort of simulate into both of them, and I really appreciate about that because it was her attitude that made me fall in love with who we are and where we came from.
Right.
you know, and embracing the good parts. Of course, every culture has, you know, their bad parts. But I started dancing when I was 3.
Right.
I learned Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, and Kathak, and that's because my mom introduced me to all of them. And she dedicated her whole life to my brother and I, to making sure that we have a certain value system, that we sort of enhance our Indian culture and also spread that culture in a really great way.
Right.
Indian society has been around for decades. I mean, we're talking about centuries.
Right.
There must be something to it, right? There must be some, whether it's spirituality or whether it's the food or whether it's the you know, our sort of the turmeric that we eat, you know, all the food items that we have. There's something that's been so long lasting about our culture,
Right.
and we should celebrate that. And so I'm so happy that she did that, because of that I've always been a performer. And so I always did plays and musicals while growing up, right? But I was in St. Louis, Missouri, where it was predominantly white American.
Right.
So, but I didn't feel that I was brown, or I didn't feel that I was anything different from anyone else, because my parents gave me that confidence.
Right.
They're like, you're not any less and you're not any different. So, so because of that, I did plays and musicals. But of course, in Indian families, you know, you're not really supposed to go into entertainment as a field. You just kind of do it on the side.
Right.
But in 5th grade, I did a play called Taming of the Shrew.
Mm-hmm.
And I auditioned for the female main lead, and my teacher said, "Oh, you know, you're really good. You should do the female lead." And I said, "Well, why can't I do the guy's character, Petruchio? Because he has a bigger character." And in the olden days, the guys were playing the women characters, so why not like be a little forward thinking? And I was like, "That's the bigger character, more interesting. So I'm going to play that." She's like, "Okay." So my first, my first project that I ever did was I played Petruchio in Taming of the Shrew. So I played the guy's character. And ever since then I said, I'm going to be a performer. I'm going to be an artist, no matter what. And so then I always did, and then I performed dances in Chicago. And then after that, as soon as I finished high school, I was Miss India Tribune in Chicago. So that was a pageant that happened sort of in the Midwest.
Right.
And I entered that pageant because they'd asked me to come and perform a dance. And they said, "Look, we don't have enough contestants. So we need a minimum of 15." And they were at like 14 or something like that.
Right.
And so they said, "Would you like to, participate in the pageant?" I said, "Look, I've never done pageants. I don't know how to do them." But then I thought, well, why not welcome this challenge? And it'll be fun. I'll meet some new girls from the Midwest. I'll make some new friends and meet new people, and it'll be a great experience. So I won that. And then from there, I entered the Miss India USA, and then I won that as well.
Right.
And there's not.
And that's the one I remember. That's the one.
That's the one you remember. Yeah.
Yes.
And there, and since we can't do Miss India in India because we weren't born there.
Yeah.
This platform was created by the India Festival Committee, Dharmat Masaran, which was great because now there's a place where like we could go to and feel like family.
Right.
They all look like us, but then we were still in America. So it was that sort of that transition of being an American, but then also having this sort of Indianness to us, which was really great because I saw these other women kind of thinking along my same lines, right?
Right.
And that was great to just have around in a good support system. And so when that happened, things just sort of accumulated and catapulted into many other adventures that I had. And then I had a chance to go to India and be part of ABCL, which was Amitabh Bachchan Corporation Limited.
Absolutely.
And
talk a little bit about that. I mean, it almost sounds like a movie that, a girl from a small town, all of a sudden, gets catapulted into the limelight and gets the top-notch beauty, title in North America for South Asians. And all of a sudden she is over, in Bollywood working at the Amitabh Bachchan of all people.
Of all people, I know.
So talk a little bit about, how do you get your head around just the mind shift that's needed to be able to take all that in?
Well, I mean, it was, so maybe because I've been performing for so long already as a kid, right? So that performance and that artist in me was always in there, that fire, that passion, which I always tell everyone is you have to have that no matter what happens in your life, you know? And so I think that, and I also went to India every year during summertime. Like my mom would take my brother and I, and we'd spend like 2-3 months there, and that's where I would learn dance. So I was already familiar with India, but the mentality and the emotional side of it was very different, you know, being in India and working in India. So, and then when ABCL happened, they were launching 10 guys and 10 girls, and they were having this huge contest. And I ran into, while I was a guest at the Miss Femina show in India, I was staying at the Holiday Inn in Mumbai. And I'm at the beauty parlor getting my hair done. And sitting right next to me is Mrs. Bachchan.
Wow.
And I said, oh my gosh, Mrs. Bachchan, I'm a big fan. And, you know, I'm here doing this. And she said, oh, well, you know, we're having a contest. Why don't you enter? And I said, well, look, you know, I'm not even from here. I don't even live here. I would love to participate. And she goes, well, send in an application and you know, be a part of it. So I sent in my application, and there was 50 of us. I got selected in the 50, and then from 50 there was 25, and then I got selected in the top 10. So they trained 10 guys and 10 girls in Hindi. They trained us in dancing and in diction of Hindi, and then also acting. So I learned from Roshan Taneja, he was the best teacher from the Pune Film Institute. So I told my mom and dad that, look, I'm going to take 6 months off from college. And
how did that go down?
And do that. Well, it was very interesting. my mom was all for it, but my dad was like, wait, you're going to what? You're going to take a break from school education? Like, that is unheard of in our family. So because I'm the first one who's actually gone into the entertainment field. Everyone in my family, they're all engineers and they're doctors. So that was a very interesting conversation. But I kind of maneuvered my way, and I told him, I said, look, I'm going to just take 6 months and I'm going to go back. So just let me take advantage of this opportunity, because this only comes like once in a lifetime.
Absolutely.
And I also thought, like, you know, between the ages of like 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, you get educated at that time in such a great way that foundation gives you the skills that are going to be long lasting. You know? So then I did that, and then I was there for 6 months. I trained. Then I got an opportunity to host the Miss World pageant, and I hosted the pre-show. And that was where I met my director, Priya Darshan, who I just did a project with. So I met him there, and then they asked me to host the pre-show, which was a live program. There was no teleprompter.
How did you feel about that? Oh my gosh.
I was flying high.
Was it in English or was
it? It was in English. It was English, thank God. I know. but it was live all over the world, and I had to do all the dances of India. So I'm like using these big like Brahmaputra and like Yamuna and the Ganga and the Saraswati. Like I was using all these like big words. And remember, I was 17 years old. So I was like, what am I doing? How am I here? But I was very good at memorizing. So that's a really helpful. Good skill. Very helpful. Very helpful. It's been helpful in the art. So I did, I hosted that. And then I got an opportunity to start VJing for Channel V. I did that. Then I did another Tamil film, which was my first Tamil film, and I started out there. And
so can I ask you something about that? So Tamil is not your first language.
No.
Can we talk a little bit about, and this is the thing that I feel that everyone out there who are aspiring to go into the entertainment field, because all they think about is fame and money, they don't actually understand the amount of work that goes into what you do. I mean, you've just finished saying that you've literally been training since you were 3 in various capacities. So let's talk a little bit about this, because this is it's kind of a very rare thing for someone that is American to go over to the subcontinent and then all of a sudden be in a massive film and speak a language that you did not know. So I just feel that people need to understand and actually hear how and how much work actually goes into preparing yourself for something like that. So can you talk to us a little bit about what that experience was like, you know, authenticating yourself as a Tamil speaking actress, really?
Yeah. I mean, you know, after I did this training in India, and then I came back to the US and I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts because I said
Yeah.
I knew I had to increase my skill set and just keep getting better, which I do even to this day.
Yes.
Whether I'm practicing a monologue or whether I'm looking at scenes or I'm reading screenplays or I'm watching, you know, different scenes that female actresses have done.
Right.
And I've always been watching like Madhubala and Vijanti Mala are two of the famous actresses that are out there, but I've always been watching their work because at such a young age, they were able to do a whole gamut of emotions. You know, they were like 15, 16 years old, and they were able to portray these Mother India, and they were able to portray these characters that were that require a lot of life experience, you know, and require that emotional maturity to showcase those emotions. So I took a call early on that I said, look, the talent and your skills are going to be long lasting.
Right.
Because your looks and your physicality are going to fade no matter what. Right? That's just a fact of life.
Well, it hasn't happened yet, darling, but carry on.
Thank you. I think it's because I'm very passionate about what I do and I get to do what I love.
Right.
And I think, and then once you find your purpose, it's even better.
Right.
Because then you've got clarity about what you're doing and how you're going to do it. Right.
Right.
So, and that's something that I found in you too, Raj. You know, you've been a pioneer for women and especially for South Asian women, you know, in doing things your way and being the entrepreneur and the owner of a business. And so there's a lot of us who look up to you, you know, so
Thank
you've
you, baby.
been one
That
of those
means
women.
so
Yes.
much. That means so much coming from you.
No, it really does, because we didn't have that many women while growing up as sort of women we could look up to. You know, I remember the only Indian woman that was on TV in America was Persis Kambata.
I remember that.
And she was the bald woman on Star Trek who everyone thought she was an alien. So they thought Indians were aliens anyway. They're like, you're brown? Oh my gosh, where are you from? You know, like we're from some other planet. And then, but she paved that way for us, right? And you're one of those people too who've paved the way of being an entrepreneur and a business owner and being successful.
Thank you, baby.
No, thank you. Thank you. So, so going back to what we were saying, so the training, I've always been very adamant about it.
Right.
Keep on training, keep on working. And so when I went to Chennai, I think all that training helped me into adapting to the culture and really bringing it on immediately.
Right.
Because when I signed the film to do a Tamil film, I had to memorize everything. I had to memorize in Tamil and then memorize the other person's line so I could kind of chime in, and then you have to react.
Right.
And Tamil is a language which is very difficult. It is not easy. You're talking about 365 letters in the alphabet.
Wow.
It's, you know, it's a Dravidian based language, right? It's not Sanskrit based.
Yeah.
So Sanskrit based is easy for people who know Hindi, but this is Dravidian. So it's one of the first languages actually in the world. In the world, yes. So in the world. So I've been trying to learn it, and I keep on trying to sort of improve on that. It's really hard to learn. And then that's what I say, after a certain age, there's only so much you can learn as far as languages is concerned.
I mean, clearly you did an awesome job, sweetheart, because I mean, look at the big budget, you know, films you've done in that industry with kind of the king of that industry, no less. I mean, talk a little bit about that, since we're on this, you know, we're in this industry. Talk to us a little bit about those movies, because, you know, there's been a stream of people just talking about you from that perspective. let's go there, because a lot of people know you predominantly from that on the Indian subcontinent.
Yeah. So, you know, when I worked over there and I got the opportunity to work with Kamal sir, I mean, it's been amazing. I mean, he is someone who's a pioneer. He's someone who perseveres, and he always tries to reinvent himself.
Right.
And he's someone that so many people look up to because he's been giving so much to Indian cinema,
Yeah.
to Malayalam, to Kannada, to Hindi, to Tamil. I mean, he's given like so many movies to all the different languages.
Right.
And that was something I appreciated so much about him, and that he continues to do that. Right? He can sit back and relax. He doesn't have to prove anything. He doesn't have to do anything anymore. But because he loves his people and he loves what he does,
Yes.
which is something that I think he probably saw in me too, right?
Right.
And so that's how he saw that. Okay, I appreciate it so much, and I work hard, and I'm dedicated to whatever character I play, and try to do the best that I can. Right.
Yes.
So he wrote a fantastic character for me, and I interpreted it the way that I thought, and then he would direct me into doing it sort of because he's got the whole vision, right? So
Of course.
so he had obviously the whole vision in his mind about what this character was.
Right.
And I just tried to bring in those emotions. But it was hard because I didn't know what anyone was saying, but I just memorized sort of the emotions to it.
Right.
And so I think he sort of appreciated that. He was like, wow, you can't even speak the language, but you get the character right away.
Right.
So,
Wow.
you don't have to know the language, because language is just a tool, right, to communicate.
Right.
But if you understand the emotions, then people are going to connect with you, which is what I was hoping, would happen.
And
of course, knowing the language. Yeah. And it did happen. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, because then he hired me again and then again, because people appreciated the work. And then we also sort of like, it was a good connection, because then people started liking what we were doing on screen. Right.
Right.
So, yeah.
No, and there was a lot of chemistry, like people in media would talk about the fact that there was this incredible chemistry that took place between you guys, and I feel that also is something that you can't really bank on. You can't know is going to happen, but
no.
But in your guys' case it didn't. I think probably because of the fact that I know you, and I know that when you make a commitment to do something, that whatever it takes, you're gonna make it work. You're a hard-working actress, and I know that very well about you. And that really, it goes to play with the fact that you have worked in so many industries around the world that we can't call you just a Bollywood or Hollywood or Collywood actress. You are an international actress, right?
Thank you. Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Walk us through this kind of whole idea of working in all these industries, like why, and talk to me.
I mean, I think initially, so look, I mean, I'm Indian, my look is Indian, and so obviously with Indian movies and Indian cinema, I'm going to resonate, right? We're going to resonate there. There's no question, because in American cinema, the stories are about American society and American norms and American societal norms. Right. And so only in the last 20 years, or even 10 years, have people embraced immigration in America. Right. And have embraced people of different ethnicities and different skin colors, and that we don't need to look at that in order to be convinced of your character. Right. And so I think that's only happened recently. I've been pushing for that my whole life. I know. I've been pushing for that, trying to write characters, trying to be part of projects that are internationally acclaimed. Right. When I did this one IFC series called Bollywood Hero, with Chris Kattan. We went to India. We shot it in India. We did 3 episodes. And it was a romantic comedy, and it was great to work opposite him because he's so fantastic and so hilarious. And again, because he worked so hard, we also had chemistry, which was great, because I always am passionate about the people who work really hard and love what they do. Yes. How can you not love them? Right. Because a film requires so much effort. Right. And so much teamwork. And it goes just beyond yourself. So there's so many aspects to it, which you can make so interesting. you know. And so with Bollywood Hero, we went to India. Then I did I did a couple of American films.
Yeah.
Man on a Ledge with Ed Harris.
I
I
remember
did Brawl
that.
in Cell Block 99 with Vince Vaughn.
Yes.
So I've always been one who, like, I love the projects that I work on, whether it's in India, I mean, and even anywhere in India, or in Pakistan, or anywhere. I've done a couple of Pakistani TV serials,
Right.
which we shot in Mauritius, and then we shot a couple in New York. So for me, I've been lucky, Raj, that like people have appreciated the work that I've done. And so I've been cast based on all my work.
Right.
It wasn't because I knew the director or I knew anyone. It was all based on people just appreciated the work, and then these directors wanted to work with me.
Right.
Which I am so appreciative of, because at the end of the day, it's a very tough business.
Right.
But again, I always reiterate, and I always keep saying it. Now you got to work on your skills, and you keep on persevering, and you kind of do interesting things, and people then get intrigued. You know,
Absolutely.
when you do different things. And I didn't want to do the same thing.
Right.
I also thought, well, look, I'm already from America. It's already a different path. And I can't do the same path as everyone else because I'm not everyone else.
Right.
So I just thought I've got to pave my own way and be happy at the same time in doing that.
So let me ask you something. So, you know, I don't think there's an actress out there who's, you know, born and bred in America that has worked in this many different industries the way you have and been so successful at it. And, you know, and your reputation precedes yourself in terms of the people that then decide they want to work with you. So with that said, that, you know, there's a lot of kind of industry culture that is, you know, different in each of these industries. Can you walk us through kind of the mindset with which you have made it work for you with all of these different kind of ways of working and acting and being in film in different industries?
Yeah. So look, in America, I'm very comfortable, right? Because this is sort of my home territory. So it's not too much of an issue here. But I've always been trying to stop these sort of stereotypical things that, you know, they think about Indian women. You know, they always, a lot of, you know, Indian people, a lot of the casting people think, oh, well, can you do the accent? You know, and I said, well, yeah, of course I can do the accent, you know, like, but then I tell them that there's all kinds of different accents, right?
Right. Like
the people in Uttar Pradesh speak a little different English. The people in Kerala speak a little different. The people in Tamil Nadu speak a little bit different. And the people in Mumbai speak a little different.
Right.
So it's like there's different accents from all over India. And the other thing was that, you know, they have this sort of idea that, you know, we're just IT people who just sit in front of the computer. And the thing is that we are. We are. So there's no question about that. But the thing is that I think what's great about coming from India and Pakistan and all our South Asian countries is that we've got, like, I think we have the beauty and the brains. And so that we've got those two things going for us.
Right.
And I think I've tried to break that barrier in the last 10 years because they have this idea about Indian women, like, oh, they're not so good looking and all they wear is saris, and then they've got these thick eyebrows and you know, they're hairy. I mean, yeah, so we are. But we can take care of it also, you know.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. So you've had to deal with those kinds of stereotypes.
So that's we've had to deal with that in America, right?
Yeah.
And then so you have to break down those barriers, you know, which takes time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now people have embraced it. And now I think, you know, brown is like really cool. It's cool to be brown now, you know?
Absolutely.
And it wasn't before.
Right. Exactly.
And so that was more of an America. And then now working in India, you know, there's different industries. Even in Mumbai, it's a little different. In South India is very different. You know, they have like different industries there. I've done a Telugu film.
Yeah.
In Hyderabad, that was very different. And in Chennai, done Tamil films, so that was different. So my main thing is that you just adapt, you know, and adaptation is key, I think, as an actor.
Right.
Because you're meeting a new family every time you do a project.
Right.
And so how do you assimilate into that family? And then once you become that family, then obviously the whole team comes together and you make a great project. You know,
Absolutely.
you can't come into India thinking that you know everything and you're better
Right.
than everyone else. Like that just doesn't, that you can't say that, because in India they've been able to do projects in very difficult conditions without having any access to
Right.
knowledge or any access to anything.
Right.
You know, in America, we're just so lucky because we have access to schools and we have access to teachers and we have access to so much information. But in India, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been able to learn everything on their own. So I'm so appreciative about people when they work in India
Right.
because of the conditions, right?
Right.
And so I always felt like, well, when I go and work in a Telugu film, like I'm going to be so sort of respectful to their culture
Mm-hmm.
and to their cinema and to how they do their characters and how they shoot their movies.
Right.
So the biggest thing I would say, the differences that I see is that the stories are just different, right? But the emotions are the same. Love, anger, hatred, possessiveness, jealousy. I mean, these are all the same, whether it's in America or Italian cinema or Indian cinema. It's all the same.
Right. Right.
So it just has to do with sort of the society and the values that each of these places have, which are different. So
and that's interesting that you say that, Pooja, because I think that, you know, what I'm hearing you say is that you've kept your senses alert and open to understand what you're walking into, and although you're
yes,
not losing who you are,
yeah,
you're finding a way to become not foreign
yes,
in the place you work in, right?
yeah, yeah, yep,
I kind of feel that that is a big key fundamental factor as to why you're able to so quickly and seems like effortlessly just kind of fit right in. Is I feel that you're knowing you personally, you're not judgmental, right? You're very welcoming with every different type of person that you meet. And I think that these natural characteristics in your personality have served you well around the world, and the reason why you've actually you fully can say that you're an international actress. Like I'm confident that we can put you anywhere in any industry,
yeah,
like China, Russia, wherever, and you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
And I think part of me also, I mean, a lot of it about me is I'm just curious about other people and other cultures. And so I find it fascinating to learn about them.
Right.
And I also think as an actor, you know, you've got to learn about other people and learn about other things. And if you're curious, you're going to be able to show different range of emotions. Right. Because if you just stick to who you are and you just stick to that, how are you going to be able to identify with women all over the world? And how are you going to change their lives?
Right.
If you're doing the same thing.
Right.
And also it's like moving with the times also, you know. It's like I always say, like, if I want to shoot a film on 35 millimeter stock right now, well, you can't because everything is digital, right? I can stick to my guns and say, oh no, I'm only going to shoot on 35 millimeter. I don't have a choice. I'm not going to do it. Well, then you'll be stuck in your own home by yourself. Because no one's going to see it, right? Yeah. So you have to also move with what's happening,
right,
and adapt. And then also, how do you sort of consume that naturally, right, and authentically and truthfully?
Right. And how do you? I mean,
I don't know. There's no set formula. Again, you know, I love people and I love what I do.
Yes.
And I love showcasing different emotions because I want like women and young girls to like come up and be strong and be confident and just go out there and persevere and become warriors.
Absolutely.
You know?
And you know, you've done that in so many different ways, in so many different types of roles. And I got to talk to you about the film that, you know, released yesterday on Zee5 Premium. It is one of an analogy of 4 films, Forbidden Love. You are in the film called Anamika. You play the title lead in it, and people are going bonkers over the film in the most positive way. I mean, media is talking about it, everything from Hindustani Times down.
Yes.
And while we've been chatting here, Instagram Live, people are going berserk talking about, you know, your role in Anamika. I have to go there right now. Talk
Yes.
to us a little bit about why, first of all, did you decide that you wanted to take this role? Because there's quite the twist, you know, without giving away too much, there's quite the twist. It's
There's
not
twist.
what you, yeah, there's not what you think is going to happen in this actually happens. So talk to us a little bit about why, I mean, I assume that it's the role. I mean,
Yes.
Talk,
You're right.
talk to us
You're
about
right.
this.
So, you know, so the first job I got was with Priyansar, who's the director. His name's Priyadarshan.
Yeah.
And I've been, for 20 years, been trying to tell him, let's work together. Let's work together. When are we going to work? You know, I was like, I'm a good actor, sir. Like, please hire me. He was like, I know you're a good actor. I will. I'm waiting for the right project to do. So 20 years later, he calls me up and says, I'm doing this project. And I said, yes. I didn't even ask. I didn't even ask what the character, screenplay, what language, because he primarily does his movies in the Malayalam industry.
Right.
But I've appreciated his work because he's done Hindi cinema and he's done a Tamil film. He's done quite a lot of work, and he does serious drama. He does romantic comedies, and he's one director who's been able to do all kinds of stories,
right,
and portray them in an authentic way. And the plus point is that he's got such interesting female characters that he writes. If you see his earlier movies like Kala Pani, there's another film called Virasat he's done, and then he's done Hangama, you know, so there's like these three different kinds of genres, and all of them have great female characters.
Right.
So when he narrated this to me, I had already said yes, but I mean, the story is so well written, and you're sort of surprised, you know, at the end. But I wanted to bring, for me, it was challenging because I'm playing this Indian woman who's a housewife. And so for me, you know, being in America, I know the sort of nuances of American women.
Right.
But with Indian women, it's a little different. And that too, a woman.
And this is Indian women in India. So that
Indian
again is another,
India.
Yes.
And this is in Hindi, right? So I haven't done in Hindi for a really long time. So I was brushing up on my Hindi, along with trying to figure out like sort of the nuances and physicalities of Indian housewives. Right. So I've been observing a few of them. I talked to my Mausies in Lucknow, you know, to kind of get some ideas. But in watching them, I was like watching how they handle their kitchen. You know, what are the things that when they walk into the kitchen, you know, what is the first thing that they do? Because the Indian kitchen setup is different from American kitchen setup. Right. So, so these small little things add up to making the character as authentic as possible.
Right.
And I also wanted people, you know, the whole series is called Forbidden Love. And I wanted people to feel emotionally connected to her.
Right.
And why she made the decision that she did.
Right.
And sort of understand, because people are quick to judge. You know, they quickly think that, oh, well, you did something wrong. So there's a reason why you did something wrong. And especially with women in general, we're scrutinized on our looks. We're scrutinized on our skin color, our hair, our bodies all the time.
Right.
So I wanted people to come from an empathetic place for her, and do it as naturally, obviously, as possible. So I studied a few movies where women were playing housewives, and then so then with his direction, and then I hope people have appreciated it, which I think a few have, so it's good.
Well, a lot of people have, sweetheart.
Yes.
Is there any kind of insider scoop you can give us regarding filming it, and perhaps how you were able to be so authentic? Because I've seen outtakes of it and I'm dying to see the whole thing, but I've seen outtakes.
Yes.
And if I didn't know you personally, I would have thought that you were actually a Indian actress.
Mm-hmm,
from India.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
nuances were really, really authentic, sweetheart. So
Thank you.
so talk to us a little bit about maybe some insider stuff that was happening behind the scenes that helped you bring this character to life, other than obviously the work that you did.
Right, right. Well, I mean, look, Priyancer is such a fantastic director. I mean, he
Mhm.
knows how to extract performances out of people. There's no question. But in this case, I did a little bit of homework. You know, I
Okay.
created a little bit of backstory about her. Where was she born? Where was she brought up? Does she have a mom? Does she have a dad? Does she have a brother, sister? You know, a few things that I brought up so that I could make her character realistic to me. Right. It's not just this foreign person who I need to embody.
Right.
But it became part of who I was, and it came through me. You know, so many people say, "Oh, you're playing a character," and the character is like somewhere foreign. And I said, "No, but every character that you do is coming through you."
Right.
So you can't separate yourself of who you are from the character.
And you don't play a role. Like you are this person. That's what I find.
Yes.
That's what I find with,
Yeah.
so much of the body of work that I've seen you in, when to be larger than life, when to know that you are a piece of a jigsaw puzzle that needs to fit right in your spot.
Yes.
And everything in between.
Yeah. No, the thing is, I think the more realistic and more humane you are, the more you're going to be able to connect. And I'm wanting to do different projects now so I can influence women, I can influence and men also in creating dialogues in their relationships. I think it's a very tough time for people to like relate and people to be sort of, you know, dedicated to the people in their life, because our wants and needs have increased. Right. You know, we're not our parents' generation anymore where the women will quietly suffer. Right. And which they have been. And I don't think they should anymore. Mm-hmm. Women have been constantly ignored, especially in Indian society. And the women are doing so much work. I mean, they're handling the housework, they're handling the kids, they're handling their in-laws. Yeah. They're taking care of so many things. And at the end of the day, women just want to feel loved. Yes. And they want to feel secure.
And appreciated, babe.
And appreciated and respected. And they just want to feel secure, and not secure financially, but secure with their man, so that they know that he's going to be my partner with me through the bad times and the good times.
Absolutely.
And I think that now with women going out into the workplace, especially in India in the last 10 years because of call centers, women are getting exposed to the rest of the world, and they're realizing, well, we don't have to suffer anymore, you know? And so I hope this film creates dialogues between, you know, your husband or your partner or your boyfriend or whoever it is, that like, look, you know, I want us to keep connected. I want us to keep, you know, hitting those emotional highs with each other. Yeah. Because it's easy to lose those things, you know, after being 8 years in a relationship or 9 years or 10 years in a relationship, you sort of, you know, you start taking advantage of each other. And I think especially because of this pandemic, is a huge learning. For granted. You take each other for granted. And I think this pandemic has taught us a lot, that what do we really need? Right. We need internet.
Absolutely.
We need food, and we need love. Yes. You know, that's what's going to get us through all of this. So I wanted really people to sort of empathize with her and not judge her character, and understand why she makes the choices she does. And then in the end, you're sort of pleasantly surprised. You're like, whoa. Oh my, you know, so you'll have to watch it and see it.
Oh my God.
And then get back.
Cannot wait to see it. But all the early reports so far, media critics, they are raving about Anamika. It's available right now to stream, I believe, right? Right now to stream. Yes. And it's streaming on the Zee5 Premium platform. Is it streaming anywhere else? Just on that
it's
one
only,
platform, or on other Zee platforms?
No, it's just on that platform. For right now, yes. Yeah.
All right, folks, so you heard it right here, Anamika. It was released yesterday, and our fabulous Pooja Kumar plays the title role. It is a very interesting film, and if you read
Mhm.
any of the media out there that's talking about, you know, how powerful the role was, and the fact that my girl here had to kind of really think about how important the message was with this film is just a testament to just all the work that she's done throughout her career, and the fact that she, you know, truly she is an artist, an actress, and I have to say also a producer. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that, sweetheart. Let's talk. You've done 3 projects, I believe,
Mhm.
as a producer, and
Yes.
they've all been award winning. Let's talk a little bit about why you decided to don the producer hat.
So, you know, look, as artists, we want to create, and we want to constantly showcase emotions and characters that don't necessarily get to be seen, right?
Right.
And there are certain sort of characters that I have in me that you know, I wanted to showcase the emotions about. The latest film is called A Nice Girl.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically about a woman who is at a crossroads, and she has to decide what path she's going to take.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to do with race relations in America, about racism. So it's really relevant right now. This hasn't released yet, but it's going to be released this year, later this year. I was going to release it earlier, but then the pandemic happened, and then so many people are just suffering right now. So I thought it's probably not the right time to release it. So I'm going to release it very soon.
And any information you can give to us regarding where people might be able to see it, or is that all in the works
Yeah,
right now?
it's all in the works right now.
Okay.
So I will I'll update you. So then we'll talk about that in the next one.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
The first one I did was called 1001 Auditions.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so that we got a lot of praise for. The second one I did was called Shoot My Life.
Mm-hmm.
We also got into quite a number of film festivals at that time. And so I want to continue to produce. I'm going to definitely produce more. I'm working on a romantic comedy as a feature film.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about that. That's going to be the next one that's gonna that we're going to start shooting for fairly soon. And
Why produce, Pooja? Why produce?
Yeah.
Why is that something that's important for you?
I think there's so many stories out there that have to be told.
Mm-hmm.
And just like we watch Clint Eastwood movies, or we watch Martin Scorsese's films.
Mm-hmm.
They have a unique voice,
Mm-hmm.
and they have something that we want to see visually. Even Steven Spielberg, or directors in India, Anurag Kashyap, or Guru Dutt, K. Balachandra, like all of these people, even Priyan sir and Kamal sir, they all have a unique perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we watch their movies because we're seeing what is coming through their hearts and with their mind onto the screen.
Right.
And I thought, well, look, my perspective on life is a little bit, I would say, I don't know if people want to see it or not, but I felt very connected to these stories and the
Mm-hmm.
emotions. And so if I feel connected to these emotions, I wanted to share that with people.
Right.
Because just keeping it, on my laptop in my sort of in my home doesn't serve any purpose.
Right.
Right. So, and if I can influence or help sort of change people's lives, then it would be great. And that was like one of the biggest reasons on why I became an artist, because I felt like I had a unique point of view, and also help, other people. Because my parents have always brought us up thinking look, we're in service of people.
Yes.
Which is basically what Indian culture is all about.
Yes.
Right. It's in service of doing good for other people, and you have to constantly do that, and that's what your good karma is going to bring you.
Absolutely.
And so when you do that, and you think of artists, and you think of art in that way, because it's a medium that can't be judged.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be criticized. It can't be just like an algebra equation. There's a right and there's a wrong answer, but
Mm-hmm.
in art, there's no right or wrong.
Right. It's perspective.
it's perspective. And so that's one of the reasons why I want to produce. I think I want to tell a few stories that maybe other people haven't thought about, or haven't had access to.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting that you said what you just shared with us now, Pooja, just the whole idea of service, etc. And, just a few weeks ago, I had a conversation with an actress who is a huge fan of yours, Melanie Chandra.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I love her.
yeah, and she was saying, because I was saying to her, like to kind of share her story, and she says that one of the people that really encouraged me to want to believe in myself and know that I could, and actually helped me do so, was one of your friends, Raj, Pooja Kumar.
Oh
And
my gosh, she's so sweet.
well, she's just one of many. Like, you have this real mentorship, giving kind of personality about you, and I know that you want to help so many more
Yes.
people that are looking to come into the industry with all that you've learned in the industry, because I know we're getting close to closing off, and I have so much to talk to you.
I know.
Bring you back. I'm gonna have to bring you back. With all of the things that you've gone through, and knowing that you're such a giving person, to you, it's about, if you can, you will. That's just who you are, right?
Yes.
What advice would you give to people who are looking to come into the entertainment business, or the fashion business, or the media business? These industries that are so fluid, and you're not really sure that these are the three industries that, no matter how educated you are, you can't guarantee that you're going to get work.
Yes.
If you go to school to be a doctor, accountant, lawyer, or whatever, you got to guarantee you're going to get work, right?
Yes.
What do you feel that these people that are aspiring a career in any of these industries, what do you feel that they need to know going in?
The first thing, it's a very difficult industry. It's very, very, it's very tough, and you have to have thick skin. You have to have thick skin. You have to take rejection, and in a very positive way, and that's very difficult to do, I think. Which anyone, right? Because we live our lives, out of fear. Most of our decisions that we make is because we're fearful of them.
Right.
And so that's why we're taught, when they keep on saying, be strong and be confident and be a warrior, there's a reason why those words are being used, is so that you have the confidence to tackle anything that comes your way.
Right.
Because life is full of challenges. Life is going to be difficult. There's no question, right?
Right.
And there's going to be situations that come into your life where you're going to have to make critical decisions. And it's on how you react in those situations, which is key. So, you audition, you're thinking you're going to get the project, everything's going great, and then suddenly they're like, sorry, it's not happening. You have to be okay with that. Like, you're going to say, man, this freaking sucks. I hate this, for like 10 seconds. And then that's it. Moving on next.
Right.
And you have to be okay with that, which I think is really tough, because that can play a lot of sort of games in your head and question who you are and all of those things. And you can't let that. I've gotten bad reviews before too.
Right.
And so I don't look at those things, right? And even the good reviews, I'm like, oh, great, it's nice to be appreciated. But then I know it's temporary, right? Today they're saying something good, and then the next day you're going to do something, and then they're not going to like it. So, but the work is still the same.
Yes.
Yeah, the work is still the same.
Right.
Even in the projects that I got bad reviews, I still worked hard.
Yes.
Right. And no one ever wants to make a bad film, and no one ever goes into the project thinking like, I want to do a bad acting.
Right.
Or I don't want to do well. Like, everyone wants to do well, and everyone wants to put out projects that people like.
Right.
And so the key is not to let that get to you. Right.
Okay.
And this whole idea of being attached in a detached way is critical. Right. It's like, how do you become passionate? How do you love what you do in a detached way? And that is what's going to make you last in the industry. And then also, people want to be around people who are going to create positive environment. Right. And also people don't want to be around nagging people who are going to be complaining all the time.
Right.
Who wants to be around that? No
Right.
one wants to be around that. So, why not take the perspective of positivity and embrace all the negative things and turn them into positive.
Absolutely.
And I think, and then these things are sort of critical in every audition that you go to or any interview that you meet with a director or producer. It's critical. So those are, I would say that's the biggest thing I would say, is that just have a good attitude and don't let it get to you.
Right.
And be confident in your choices.
That's wonderful. I mean, that's the kind of advice that we need to hear from somebody that's been in the industry for the last 2 decades, has worked around the world, has been in front of and behind the camera. Pooja, you are such a pleasure to speak to. There's so much
thank you.
wisdom. There's so much wisdom and knowledge that, you've imparted for everybody today. Folks, please go check out Anamika. Right now, it is streaming on Zee5 Premium. Go check it out. See what all the people are that are saying wonderful things about it. Why are they saying these things? Go check it out, because you'll be pleasantly surprised. I cannot wait till the next time I get the opportunity. You, my girl. You are.
Thank you.
I love you. And I cannot wait for the next time we get the opportunity to chat again about how fabulous you are.
Please. And me, oh God, please keep saying all the good things. I love it.
You know, I could go on for hours, girlfriend.
Please do. We have to talk every day now.
Absolutely. Love you to bits, darling.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you so much. And thank you for everything that you do too, for encouraging women and for giving us this platform. Really, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, baby.
Thank you.
Mwah.